were on our own. They stole a lot of money. And now people want it from us.
Widows is directed by Steve McQueen, not this Steve McQueen, this Steve McQueen. And it stars Viola Davis, Elizabeth Debicki, Liam Neeson, Colin Farrell, Robert Duvall, Cynthia Erivo, I'm trying to think of who else, Michelle Rodriguez, I'm trying to think of who else, Brian Tyree Henry, I'm trying to think of who else, Daniel Kaluuya. It stars a lot of people, a lot of famous people. Now in Widows, Viola Davis, Elizabeth Debicki, Michelle Rodriguez, all their husbands, they were used to be criminals, they would steal money, and on one bad job, they're murdered. No, they're not murdered, they're killed, I mean. They die, they're killed by the police, and it's just them being widows, and now the people are wanting money from them because the people that they stole from, and now they have to go and steal some more money so they can pay off those debts so their lives aren't being threatened. It's a team between Viola Davis, Elizabeth Debicki, Cynthia Erivo, and Michelle Rodriguez, and it's just a really fantastic heist movie. Now, if one thing I had to really appreciate in Widows, I would say it's the cast. The cast is across the board fantastic. Colin Farrell, even though he's Irish, and he has a little bit of an Irish accent here, it's really cool to see him have a bit of an American accent. He was a really intriguing character. He plays a politician. Robert Duvall's his father, slightly less interesting character, didn't really care for him that much. It's sort of rude most of the time, so you didn't really like him. But that's sort of who he was playing, and that's sort of the point of it. Viola Davis, incredibly powerful, she's fierce, she's determined for the large majority of the film, and it's just something you can really appreciate in her performance, and I could probably see that being nominated for an Oscar, but also not at the same time. Elizabeth Debicki was by far fantastic. I think Elizabeth Debicki was the film's best performance. If she doesn't get nominated for Best Supporting Actress, I'd be very surprised. I do think she would wholeheartedly earn her nomination if she was nominated for this. Cynthia Erivo, still really great. She was a little bit, you know, she gave a really good performance in Bad Times at El Royale. This year is a fantastic performance. Really seeing what she is really great at on screen, so it's good to see that she was in it. Michelle Rodriguez gives a little bit more depth than what you would normally get from her, considering you normally see her in the Fast and Furious movies. It's interesting to see her in a really big, you know, heist movie where she plays a tough character still, but she, you know, has layers of emotion and her grieving stage. There's one scene especially where you just see her really giving all the emotion she can, and I think it's an absolutely superb scene. Steve McQueen's direction, fantastic, off the chain. He did 12 Years a Slave. I haven't seen it, but here he is absolutely fantastic in his directing. The writing is also super precise. The dialogue back and forth, I would really think it would be the way the exposition is treated and given, and the way the story, you know, ultimately unfolds. I would say that this movie should probably be nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay. Gillian Flynn and Steve McQueen, they did a fantastic job here writing, and, you know, it should be commended. The cinematography is really good. Every shot gives you a really clear idea of what the surrounding, like, you know, of the characters are. It's really great. The story overall is really smart. The music, oh, it's incredibly exhilarating. When the heist is actually going down, my heart was pumping because it's just adrenaline pumping all the way, and that helps with the music. The tight direction, the awesome cinematography, and the way the actors move about on the screen. It is fantastic. Widows, it's a fantastic film. If I have a problem with it, it's this. The way the ending happens, it ends a little bit underwhelming. You don't get like your typical scenes that happen after a heist movie. You don't really get to see the actual effect of what the heist happened. It's just like all this leading up to the heist, and then a couple minutes of footage afterwards, and it's really interesting to see how characters change after the heist, and it's real. But I ultimately think it would have been a lot more interesting had you actually seen scenes that, you know, because they're carried over, some information is done by voiceover, and it'd be really interesting to see what the whole thing, like, you know, what the effects were in the scenes of themselves. Could this be nominated for Best Picture? Honestly, I'm not really sure. It feels like it's the most Oscar baity, you know, mainstream blockbuster we could probably get, aside from Black Panther this year, even though that wasn't Oscar baity. Widows, though, I think is fantastic. I really enjoyed it, so I'll say that Widows, I'll buy it on DVD. Have you seen Widows? What did you think of it? Let me know in the comments down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you don't know how to it, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye. Well done, you made it to the end of the video. Why don't you click on one of these two videos for more content, or subscribe, so just be reminded of when I upload, so you know, subscribe. That'd be great.